Salutations, everyone. Our announcer is going through a regeneration of his own with technical difficulties right now. So today, for today's podcast, Zero and I shall do the intro ourselves. You ready?
Unfortunately so.
Unfortunately so. All right. We'll do it on three. One, two,
I don't remember it,
three.
so here we
It,
go.
Welcome to the multiverse with your
Verse.
hosts, me, and that's
And
where you.
me.
There you go. Now you got it.
Oh shit. Oh man,
Casey,
this
if you are
sucks.
out there, I apologize. Technical difficulty has you regenerating. Today is the start of a 6 week stretch for the podcast. It has been a very long time since we've been able to do an episode for the podcast. Not since we had our guest, KC, who was our announcer, came on and talked about Saw. But today,
About a month ago.
yeah, at least a month ago. Which, by the way, um, that episode is on our YouTube channel. Which you just look up NTKH and it will say NTKH plus zero, and you can see them on there. But as I was saying, we're starting the podcast right now with this 6 week stretch with nerd updates because we always talk about them at the end of the episode, but we don't really get enough time to discuss a lot of it. And obviously, it's the beginning of the new year, so we have a lot of updates that happened. So we're going to take this episode to talk about them. Along with, at near the end, we'll talk about what we can see coming up for the next couple weeks for the podcast. So Zero, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Okay, what would you like to start with? Maybe Marvel video games. We can do something.
Oh,
Um,
why don't
mm,
we? Why don't you pick and let's just let the ball roll where it lies, my friend. We got plenty of
all
updates
right,
to
let's
talk about.
we'll go with that. We'll start with Marvel since they're been a big name for a while. I have found in some of my research through people that I follow and I read up online that Spider-Man 4 is scheduled to happen with no specific date in mind before Year's Game, and they are looking to have a big event tied into it.
Now, I did see that, and I was extremely excited to hear about Ant-Man or Spider-Man 4 was already in production. I think I actually saw it was they're looking at trying to have it come out next year, is what I saw.
I I think that's what they were talking about as a year before Kang Dynasty, based on production time and everything being completed filming and possible pushbacks. You know how that is.
Yeah, there's been a lot of pushbacks with Marvel lately, especially with them talking about quantity over quality, and they've been slowly taking their
Or
time.
quality over quantity.
Yeah, quality over quantity. So they are
Quality.
taking their time, um, slowly releasing the stuff. Actually, if I remember correctly, the Marvels actually got pushed back too, didn't it? Because the Marvels was supposed to be on during, I think it was supposed to
Oh,
be originally July.
I think so. I think it was pushed back between September and November, but don't quote me on that one.
Yeah, but with Spider-Man 4 coming out, um, and planning to come out before all that, that actually makes me excited. To kind of going with some of the other updates that we've seen, that you and I have talked about beforehand, that they've come out and said Madam Web, which is a huge thing for Spider-Man. The show is finally done, and I think it said it's supposed to come out this year. So that makes me
Now,
extremely
see,
excited.
what's interesting for me is you told me that it had been converted into a show, and I had no inkling of that when you told me what was it, a couple days ago. Maybe some of our viewers don't know that they switched it from a movie to a show.
Yeah, yeah. So for a lot of you guys that don't know, Madam Web is a Marvel character who her biggest thing that she is able to do is see into the multiverses, particularly with all the Spider people, Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, um, Spider-Man's different variation, Miles Morales, all of that. She's able to see them and interact with all of those too, which is going to be exciting because I think the only really big appearances that she's had was um, the Spider-Man game across dimensions on the 360, and then before that, it hasn't been since the 90s cartoon, if I remember correctly.
It's been a very long time. She was really good in the '90s cartoon, so hopefully they have some influence from that.
And one of the things that I put down in my little notes for all the updates for all this is um, what kind of impact do we think is going to happen because Madam Web is coming into live action. I don't know about you, but my one of my theories that I think is that we're going to finally see a live action Spider Verse because it would make too
If
much
they
sense not to have her for that.
if they do, they gotta slowly, in my opinion, build up the enemy for Spider Verse in particular, because I believe the first enemy was the Inheritors,
Yeah,
and
those
they
were the
have to
ones.
build them up.
Yeah, I believe those were the ones that killed all the Spider people and
They
killed all the
absorb
Spider
their
people.
energy and their spider totems.
Yeah, and I believe that's what that was. I do feel like though that with Madam Web coming out and in live action Spider Verse, um, I don't think that's really that far fetched, especially since they announced Spider-Man Noir is going to be an Amazon show coming out, which Zero and I have talked about that needs to be Nicolas Cage because
It
they've
has to
already
be.
said
I,
it
I
with Nicolas Cage with the Into the Spider Verse.
Now see, obviously, if Nick doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it. Obviously, that's fine. But as fans, I'm sure we're not the only ones that are looking at him and going, "Dear God, do it."
I think Nicolas Cage he did say he had a lot of fun with that character, so I do not think it's that far fetched not to see Nicolas Cage come back to be either the live action or voice him again because I don't remember what they said if it was going to be live action or it was going to be live action or animated with that.
I hope it's live action, but I'm feeling it's going to be more animated. But if they did do live action, they could do like an older Spider-Man noir who's definitely more grizzled.
As long as they make him have his Rubik's cube that he took. Maybe, maybe,
That'd be
maybe,
hilarious.
yeah, maybe we'll see that he actually solved the Rubik's cube this time. Um,
I
but
did it here.
I did it. I don't know what this thing is still, but here. Um, with Spider-Man, though, again, there's so much more that I think is going to happen. Because, uh, like I said, Spider-Man No Way Home ended with everyone forgetting that Spider-Man or Peter Parker was Spider-Man. But if you really dissect it, I really think there's that theory that the only people that forgot who Spider-Man was the people on Earth. And I really think that
Uh,
Doctor Strange too did not forget either. I do not think that he would forget.
well, I think what it is, they're only forgetting that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Peter Parker doesn't exist. Spider-Man still exists. They like in Multiverse of Madness, he referenced how Spider-Man worked with him to save the world from Thanos and all these other villains. So it's not the fact that they forgot Spider-Man; they just forgot Peter. They don't know anything about Peter. They know Spider-Man is a hero and he's done all these great things through the movies, but they
Mm.
don't know anything about Peter.
And that's where I'm thinking that with all I think with Madam Web coming in that might be fixed, especially since they said Spider-Man 4 is the start of a new trilogy for Spider-Man, and I just don't feel like they're going to have it for the entirety of the time that they're going to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Well, I think eventually he's going to end up revealing his identity to some of the trusted Avengers again and establishing a new social life for himself.
I will say this, and I know my wife can agree with me that they definitely need to show him reintroducing himself to Zendaya, MJ, and reigniting that.
I think the relationship is definitely going to start anew, but it's going to be more so along the lines of the original Mary Jane and Peter relationship rather than the one they built in the original three films.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, but it'd be curious to see because in the comics, Mary Jane didn't go to MIT. She was the reporter. In this one, they're setting it up so that they're the same age. They're both very intelligent people. So I'm curious to see what they'll change with that. Not only with that, too, there's still the talks and everything you've looked at that Ned's going to turn into the Hobgoblin.
I will bet money because they played it off like I will never be your villain. I promise I'll never turn on you. And he's like, okay. Well, guess what? It's gonna happen. That's way too much overshadowing for it to not.
Exactly. There's way too much talk about with it that he will not inevitably turn into the Hobgoblin, which will be cool to see, though. Hopefully he doesn't die, and hopefully something is fixed. But I feel like if the character does want to stop being Ned, that's how they're going to end it, and they're going to at least be able to see him become, hey, I do remember you, or maybe that is the turning point of why he did become the Hobgoblin.
Maybe like somehow, some way he ends up remembering, and then he goes evil in a way. Kind of like, why would you make me forget you? Why would you do that?
Exactly. Now with all of them too, the other thing that you and I talked about that we entirely forgot was coming out this year is Craven the Hunter's coming out,
Yeah, I didn't think anything about it.
which a lot of you may or may not know that who's listening, but Craven the Hunter is another Spider-Man villain who he is an extreme game hunter, extremely skilled, athletic, and he wants to hunt, kill, and make what it was it make a pelt out of Spider-Man. I think that's what it was. Like
I
Spider-Man's the
he
ultimate
yeah,
game to him.
he wants to turn him into a trophy of some kind. I can't remember exactly what.
Yeah, and then so the fact that that movie's still coming out, which I really hope to see a trailer soon, since I think I saw a release date for fall. So it's long overdue that we need to get a damn trailer for it.
You got to give us a teaser, something.
And then the other
But
question too is, oh god,
oh no! I was just gonna say I'm hoping that Sony sticks to their guns and actually brings us something good with all these villain movies they're coming out with. You can't just play them all off as the anti-hero. They gotta eventually be the villain that they're supposed to be.
yeah, and the other question too with Craven the Hunter coming out is, are you gonna tie it with Morbius? Are you gonna tie it with Venom? Because the talk is that they're slowly setting up the Sinister Six to inevitably face Spider-Man, which we
I
kind
feel
of
like
had.
an end credits scene for Craven would probably involve Morbius and the Vulture.
See, I would like to see that too, and I would like to see Scorpion because Scorpion was teased in a post-credit scene, and I think it was Spider-Man: Homecoming that he was teased.
Yeah, he had been talking to the Vulture.
Yeah, because he was sitting there saying, "Some word on the street is you know who Spider-Man is." So it'd be kind of cool to see that. I know we got our own little pseudo close Sinister Six in No Way Home, but I still need all these other people you have set to the sidelines. You know what I mean? Like to see Spider-Man go against Morbius, Craven, Venom. Let's throw some even a few more in there. I still don't think
What I
Mysterio's dead.
But I don't think so either because he plays mind tricks and that's just the thing. For all we know, he's not actually dead. He's making moves in the background, but at this point, because of Doctor Strange's spell, he'd know he fought Spider-Man and lost. So he'd be after Spider-Man, but he wouldn't be after Peter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then another ramification to that too is Spider-Man did inevitably, everyone forgot he was Peter Parker. So what did that really change for some of these villains? I mean, did everything that he fought still happen, and everyone he defeated, like Homecoming, stayed as it was? Vulture was still defeated the same way. Did Myst- that would have changed the whole thing of Mysterio because Mysterio hunted down Peter Parker knowing he was left the glasses from Iron Man. So that would change the whole ramification of that too, if you think about it. Since he doesn't remember anymore, how did he get the glasses?
And see, that's just the thing. It's kind of a very complicated subject to be talking about that could take us into a spiel that we could be talking about for the next couple of days. It's not something that we should probably dive into.
I don't know. I mean, it kind of goes in with what with everything that's going on with Madam Web and Spider Noir and all of that, I think this is all the stuff is going to be huge ramifications for everything that's going to be continuing with Marvel right now. I think Spider-Man, they've already talked about Spider-Man's going to be having a huge impact with everything, and we've already cracked open the door with Ant-Man to the become the multiverse going ape shit. So I think that we're most definitely going to probably see a lot of those changes happening, and I'm holding it down that inevitably he's going to have to everything's going to be broken, that he's going to be reversed, that everyone will remember that he is Peter Parker.
At some point, if not him just revealing his identity to these heroes as time goes on. Did you hear what was going on with Venom 3?
Yes, that Venom 3 is written and it's in pre-production. That they're going to start
But
filming it in the summer.
but they're also holding back a little bit because they're not sure what to do with Spider-Man because they want a Spider-Man to be there, but they don't know how they're going to do it. They don't want to use Tom Holland because if they do, then they got to go, oh, it's a variant, and it's going to confuse people.
Yeah,
And if
and
they
and I
use,
think everyone was kind of waiting to see what the story was for Spider-Man 4 and how to start including all these people, because going into another thing, we got Loki season 2 coming out and Secret Invasions coming out, which are already going to be huge ramifications for a lot of things. You know, you and I've talked about it. Loki season 1 ended with the time breaking, and now the time bureau is now controlled by Kang.
well, see, what's weird is it was controlled by the He Who Remains. He made up the Timekeepers as a story, whereas in the comics it was different. The Timekeepers were real beings, and Kane was just part of their group.
Mm,
He was kind of like the quote unquote fourth timekeeper. But the movies changed it in a way where it was Kane the whole time, and there weren't any actual timekeepers.
yeah. So I mean,
So
well, there are,
you
but
gotta
there
play it
aren't.
off that.
Now they don't have any idea of what they really are, except they just follow through with what they were initially doing.
Yeah, they're just kind of following the plan while going, yeah, Kang started this, but we're not gonna follow this Kang. Screw him.
Yeah.
We're gonna
So I
do
mean,
what we were meant to do.
what do you think? What do you think is going to come out of Loki season 2? And what do you think about that and Secret Invasions? What do you think we should be expecting for all of that?
Oh, like Secret Invasion and Loki season two. I think Loki season two is gonna have them going through time, finding out these one or if not more than one version of Kane throughout the time stream is changing things without them knowing. There's such subtle changes that they would not have perceived it unless they actually looked at it. And I think because of what happened with Loki and him talking to He Who Remains, he now knows he's done this before. He's done it many times. We need to find him. We need to stop him.
Exactly. And what
We,
do you think we're going to see some cameos too?
uh, I think throughout his time travels, probably. I wouldn't doubt if we ended up seeing like Howard Stark, for example. I just feel like somehow, some way that might happen.
Hmm.
With other cameos, it's kind of hard to tell since a lot of stuff takes place, a lot of characters. So now you got to bring from earlier that we're never really mentioned before. I mean, it's possible we could get the Howling Commandos during World War II.
Hmm.
It's possible we might get more of a backstory of Nick Fury because technically he has a form of eternal life through his serum. Might get more
I
background on him.
I would really hope if there's one big cameo or at least an end credit scene or something, can we finally have the reunion between him and Thor?
I wouldn't doubt if at some point he needs his brother's help and he has to go find him.
Yeah, and I really, 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 really hope that's in season 2, because I don't want to. Everything's just leading up to, it's already weird to think about, but was it Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars is going to be coming up in 2 years? It's already really weird to think about. They said 2025, I think, is when they wanted to do Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. So it's right around the corner, man. It's I
I think
figured.
I think it actually pushed Secret Wars to 26, but yeah, Dynasty is definitely supposed to be in 25 so far. And like you said, it's only 2 years away. That's a lot of projects you have to do.
Oh yeah, yeah, especially all the setup that you're planning to do with everything. And then going in, an example with that is Secret Invasions. Uh, Secret Invasions, to some of you guys who haven't read the comics, is something I've been looking forward to. That's a whole premise that the Skrull, which are the green people that you met in Captain Marvel, there's a group of them. I think it was the Super Skrull. I think that's what you said.
Yeah, the Super Scroll might show up as a villain, which would be quite interesting if that's the case.
So the premise with the Secret Invasion was basically that a rogue group of the Skrull ended up kidnapping and replacing uh, key figures throughout the government, throughout the Avengers, and replaced them, but they were a different breed of Skrull that was able to take those abilities, their memories, and their powers, so their disguises were so unique that it took very, very small, subtle things for you to know that they were Skrull. And the fact that they're having that, but what's even more surprising to me is the fact that Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, is leading the whole episode with Mariah Hill. So I'm curious to see, the last time we saw the Skrull was it Cap or WandaVision, where one of them sent up uh, Monica up to space, and the other time we
I
saw
think
both
that
of them.
was the last time we saw a Scroll. Yeah.
And then before that was Spider-Man Far From Home, where we found out that they replaced Mariah Hill and or Nick Fury
Samuel.
while
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
up
yeah.
in space dealing with a sword. So it's going to be a lot of changes that I think we're going to see through all of this. Huge impacts and everything that already happened. We already talked about schedule changes. Um, we've talked about the Marvels have been pushed back, which I think that some people already talked about is going to be that's a bad sign for the movie. I don't think that's a bad sign. I think they're spacing it out purposely because I think everything was too cluttered. So you can have one in the beginning of the year, one in the middle, and one near the end, and you can sprinkle like maybe two or three shows in between it that are supposed to be lined up with it. I think that was a smart move on their part because initially we were supposed to have Blade this year, and then obviously we all know the drama that happened with Blade. And if you don't, Cliff Notes, the script originally sucked so bad that the person who wrote it, I believe, was fired. Kevin Feige asked it to be completely redone, and the script had to be reworked before they were able to bring it back. So I think it said it was supposed to start filming this summer. So I think we'll probably get Blade next year.
If we're lucky, probably late next year.
I would be okay with that. Blade seems like it needs to be a Halloween movie. Maybe if we get lucky,
Oh,
we
I
could
was
have
just thinking
Morbius.
that. Yeah.
Maybe we could have Morbius 2 and Blade come out at the same time. I think that'd be a great combo unit.
It wouldn't be a bad idea for a Halloween type movie set, you know?
Nah, or we could have another standalone special presentation like Werewolf at Night, which was so great.
Oh, Werewolf by Night. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
And then, do you have any thoughts about what we can expect for Marvel, or what you're looking forward to for Marvel coming out within the next phase, all the way up to uh, Secret Wars?
I'm looking forward, interestingly, on how everything's going to connect and how they're going to build it up. How, say, like, for example, Secret Invasion might be a prelude to, like, say, the Kang Dynasty. For all we know, that the Skrulls who are secretly invading work for Kang in some way. We don't know. I mean, I'd like to see how they intertwine some of these popular stories that are just their own standalone stories into the bigger one towards the.
Do you have any particular movie project coming out that you're excited for in between this time frame?
For them specifically, there's not really anything I'm like crazy excited for. Yeah, I'm gonna go see them, guarantee you that. But I just there's not really anything I'd have to say that's like really grabbing my attention. I like Secret Invasion kind of comes to mind because I'm interested to get that. Uh, it's essentially Agents of Shield redone. That's the feeling I'm getting from this show.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm hoping something cool comes out of it. Heck, for all we know, that's where Pike shows up.
Or Coulson. I think
Yeah,
actually I think she was slate. What's her name? Who played Daisy Johnson? I think she was slated. That they said her that she's in the show. I just don't think
I'm
they
not
said that as
entirely
quick.
sure.
I will say
Um,
for Marvel, I think the projects I'm excited to see come out that I mean I'm holding a really high hopes for. The Thunderbolts, I'm really holding high hopes for. I think that's going to be an absolutely hilarious movie. I think it's going to be a great time. I really need to see more Red Guardian. I would love if he could actually fight Sam Wilson as Captain America, just so we can finally get his story of I fought Captain America and it was a close match, but one punch to his head and I took him out. I would love to see.
I hope they give him that. I hope they give him that. That'd be hilarious.
I would love to see. Uh, Honestly, out of all the side movies, Blade coming out, uh, shows, I would love to see another season of What If. I thought that was a really great show. Loki is obviously out there. House of Chaos, Agatha is going to be an interesting one. If I have to say, out of all, I don't know what the story they're going to do for Kang Dynasty is. I really, really, really don't. But if I'm going to talk about at all this slated for this phase, I'm super excited for Secret Wars, man. So excited for Secret Wars. To a lot of you guys who are here, Secret Wars was a story that's been done, I think, 3 times now.
Uh, it
I think
might be,
it's,
but I could swear it's only two.
but the premise is that I think his name is the Game Master, and what he does is he takes all the multiversal versions of these characters and throws them into what he calls battle worlds, and they have to fight for their freedom, basically. So my hope is that we've talked about before that we're gonna see the old Fox version of Fantastic Four. We're gonna see. I heard the other day that they're talking with Ben Affleck might come back as his version of Daredevil. So,
I would love that. Give him a closing like sequence for him.
and that's what Kevin Feige was talking about, that they wanted to up the game from Avengers Endgame with all of that setup, and there's going to be a lot. They want to close the door on the old X-Men. They want to close the door on Fantastic Four, Daredevil. Um, I would not be surprised if we see Wesley Snipes pop up as Blade. I would not. I really hope that he does, just to see him die to the new Blade. That would be a perfect closing. I've always argued that. Um, there's just so many characters. Heck, I heard Patrick Stewart and what's his name? Patrick Stewart and Ian. I can't
Ian
remember his name.
McKellen.
Thank you. Yeah, that they're both coming back too. That I heard. Deadpool 3 is another one we should be excited about too. Hugh Jackman's back as Wolverine, and that's going to be time jumping too, apparently.
You cut out what?
I was saying that uh, Deadpool 3 is supposed to be all about time jumping, and it's supposed to be. They
Oh
said
yeah, yeah.
it's like a buddy movie type of thing.
I hope to God the TVA are after him.
I heard something about that, and I think that would be absolutely hilarious if that is the case.
And Mobius is the guy that's after him, so hilarity ensues.
Oh, I think that'd be hilarious if it is Mobius and Loki trying to go after Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that'd be hilariously funny. Um,
And Wolverine's just pissed off the whole time.
I heard he's supposed to be pissed off the whole movie. That he said one of the big reasons that he was excited for this role is because he keeps getting to be able to punch Ryan Reynolds in the face.
He's probably actually punching him.
More than likely, actually doing it. But for Marvel, I mean, well, there's a lot of it. We just kind of have to wait and see. I mean, we got what's out. Ant-Man's out. We have to wait till May for Guardians 3 to see how that shapes up, and probably say goodbye to a few people, because they did say it's the end of that version of the team. Then we got to wait to see what happens with the Marvels and Loki and Secret Invasions. We're kind of Phase 5 just really started with Ant-Man, and there's too much to speculate at this point, but we need like a few more projects, and we'll probably come back to Marvel, honestly. Once we get a few more projects in, we'll probably have a whole episode dedicated to what our theories are and where we think stuff's going to go. Do you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I would say so. I'm just I'm ready to scoot you on to the next subject.
Bring it on, baby.
All right. Give me something on your list that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, give me something on my list.
I think we pretty much tapped Marvel in the ass.
I think we have tapped Marvel. I think it's only fair if we follow Marvel that we have to go with DC next.
Hit me. Hit me with your best shot.
All right. So I think if we're gonna talk DC, we have to go with the new DC slate that they have announced.
Gods and Monsters.
Yes, that's what it was. I believe it was called.
Chapter 1's supposed to be Gods and Monsters,
Yep,
yeah.
I have it pulled up right now on my phone. Um, but if we're gonna talk
How
about
dare you
that,
cheat with your phone?
some of these were hard to remember. Dang it, I was trying to type these at work this morning. Um, so how would you want to do this to talk about this? Because if we're going to talk about the new slate, I think that we should start about what they're considering the reboot to the whole DCU universe movies, which was Shazam, Flash, uh, Aquaman 2, and Blue Beetle.
Okay, now, the way he was saying it, from what I viewed today, is Blue Beetle, Aquaman, and Shazam are kind of set off by themselves. They don't really intertwine anything with their stories
But they're like a
whatsoever.
soft addition,
They're
is
kind
what
of
he's.
like a soft addition, but they're not really referencing it. He said the Flash, using Flashpoint, is what's going to reset everything, and that's what's going to be their starting point.
And I will say this. I know it's a huge, at the moment, controversial subject, and I hate that it's controversial. That the Flash or Flashpoint, because that's exactly what this movie is, just tweaked a little bit. Um, they're saying that it's controversial that now people are trying to boycott it because it's Urza Miller is still in the movie. Well, of course Urza Miller is going to be in the movie. The movie was made long before he did all this crap. Now,
Yeah, and see that's what I don't get about the community. They're trying to boycott this or boycott that. Oh, you support their views because you're viewing it or messing with it. No, that's not the case. We're here as fans to enjoy something that we love that's based on something that we love. It's not because a certain actor or writer is involved that we agree with them. No, that's a whole nother subject we shouldn't get into. But I'm just gonna say,
we'll
wrong.
yeah,
That's not what we think.
we will have a we'll have the controversial episode is what we'll call it. That's a future project. Be prepared. We have a lot of opinions on all of that.
Multiversal opinion episode. We don't care what you think.
Yeah. No, we do care. We love our fans. I promise.
Okay, we care what our fans think.
Um, but to kind of bring it down, you might as well watch it because everyone has been saying has previously seen it or got an early screen of it that even despite it's Urza Miller, it's a great movie, and I'm gonna
Oh
see
my
it.
god, the trailer by itself sold me on the film.
Yeah,
What
that's
the
right. Yeah,
hell?
you're. Yeah, I'm Batman. Oh, Michael Keaton.
Oh,
That got me so excited to see Michael Keaton back in that outfit. I bet he's
oh
super
man, I
excited.
I haven't had goosebumps to see a DC film until I saw him say I'm Batman and his theme music played.
Right,
Right there, I was done.
the old music. Oh, Tim Burton must be proud.
The '89 music, I was like, hell yeah.
But another thing with it is, despite what he's done, and I understand all of it, the talk is that this is his last movie, anyways, as the Flash. There's talks that I was telling Zero the other day that Urza Miller is supposedly going to be replaced with Grant Gustafson in the movie. Is a talk that someone's been leaking, and if that's the case, I think that's really cool because that might give us hope that Stephen Amell might come as the Green Arrow.
Oh my goodness! Fans for a couple of years are saying if you're going to replace Ezra, you talk to Grant first. If he wants to do it, cool. We're going to back him up because
Exactly.
he's been the Flash for 9 years now. He deserves it. If he wants it, he deserves it.
And I think he does deserve it. He's done. He's the last show for the Arrowverse that's out. For God's sakes, I mean, he needs to be. He needs to be the Flash now. Replace Urza with Grant, and I think everyone will be happy. And then if you do that, at least set up like a little post-credit scene that you see like a green bow or an arrow, and let us just. We don't have to see it. Just let me hear Stephen Amell's voice, Barry. It just the arrow fling by his head. I would be happy with that. But I
Oh
think
yeah, yeah. Like at the end, he's all confused. Like, why do I look like this? And an arrow flies by him, and he goes, "Hello, Barry."
yes, it would be perfect. But to the thought on this for all of you guys, I still think all of you guys should go see the movie, despite all the controversy behind all of it with Urza and everything like that. Go see it. Don't give a crap because it's Urza. Just be happy that the movie's actually here. We get to see a live action Flashpoint, and everyone has been saying it's been phenomenal. Um, Now, on the opposite side, I have heard Aquaman 2's screenings have been awful.
Oh my God! I was just gonna say his screenings have been viewed as horrible. Like the people have been walking out of the test screening.
Yeah, and I don't know still for the sake of it that I heard they reshot scenes with Amber Heard out and replaced her with someone else. I don't think that's what the case is. I've just heard
No,
that
I don't think so. I wouldn't think so.
I just I don't know, man. I've heard that some people have been in there's like, we've walked out halfway through the thing or very early on in it that just the story sucks and everything that you could kind of tell that they don't want to be in this role anymore or stuff like that. And it's just I don't know. I think Jason Momoa was ready to be done with Aquaman, and the fact that they said he's supposed to be Lobo or Lobo and joining Marvel, I think is going to be a much better fit for him.
I think he's going to have a lot more fun. He's been thinking about doing Lobo for a long time. He says it's one of his favorite characters that he'd enjoy doing something like that. And it wouldn't take much to make him look like the man. I mean, come on.
You might have to reboot your mic there, sir. You're getting all squeaky.
Oh, I'm getting all squeaky. I don't know what to freaking
It's
do.
it's
So
just a
what do you?
feedback. Just turn it off, turn it back on.
Oh my God, it's like an IT project. Okay,
Yeah, IT
I'll be
crowd,
right
turn it
back.
off and on again. While he's going on the reset that, so Aquaman 2 has had all the debates of the Amber Heard issue, that boycotting it, the fact that this is now have been confirmed that this is Jason Momoa's last hurrah as Aquaman. Does that mean they're going to kill him? Does that mean he's going to go through a multiversal change because of Flashpoint? Nobody really knows per se, but now the question is, is the movie going to be worth watching it? I feel like it's going to have to be watched, just because they're rebooting everything with all of this stuff. Um, Along
We good?
with, yeah, you're good now. Much, much better.
All right, cool. I'm gonna
Um,
be Ghost Zero for half a second. Gotta walk dogs.
yeah, gotta be Ghost Zero. Um, so I think Aquaman may be a 50-50 from what I'm hearing. It might not be great, but at least it's something. Um, the other two movies that I think I'm even more excited for the DC reboot is what they're calling it. They're calling it the Universal Reset is what it was. Um, is that they're looking at doing Blue Beetle, finally, and Shazam 2. I think it's Wrath of the Gods or
I
Fury of the
believe so.
Gods. Yeah. So,
Oh wait, no, you're right. I think it's Fury of the Gods.
um, I'm excited to see what comes out of both of those. Blue Beetle has been kind of like a little fan favorite for a long time, so I'm really excited to see what comes out of Blue Beetle.
I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I would really love to see Static Shock at some point.
Did you turn your mic off and on again, sir? Now you're having the technical. I think your mic's trying to regenerate.
It might be. Oh, how about now?
Now it's still squeaky. They just get like a feedback loop.
A feedback loop. Huh. Interesting.
Well, now it's gone.
Now I'm just gone.
Now it's back.
How about now?
It's there.
All right. Well, I'm not good at this bullshit.
Just
So
just try
here we
turning
go.
your mic off and on again, man. I don't know what to tell you. It just sounds like it's a feedback loop with the mic.
All right. Keep talking.
So you see, while we're in the process of all of this and we're waiting for Zero to reboot, if you might have noticed compared to the previous streams, this is the new streaming room. Along comes included, she's hiding over there, but there's my little couch goblin of a wife, and she's got a kitty. She's super excited about the kitty. But we finally have this. We have this new room set up where I have. You can't see it right now, but on the opposite side of me is all of the new streaming setup. Actually, let me pull this up. I got the giant TV to stream.
Oh, big for you.
Yeah, new man cave. We'll show this out. The new setup for everything. Got all of the stuff going on. The wife's got her own little spot right there. And she's got her own little TV that she's able to do all this stuff. And more importantly, the homework center for everything nerd. So, ta-da! And much better. You're not having the feedback loop.
I'm also just breathing.
God damn it, there it is again. Whatever, we'll roll with it.
We're gonna roll with it.
Yeah, so I think Blue Beetle and I think Shazam 2 is going to do really well. I've already seen some early reviews for Shazam, and they say Zachary Levi is just a great guy. I think he is a phenomenal person, and I think he does Shazam very well. I think they were saying that Shazam's kind of in its own thing, that with the Universal reset, that Shazam and Blue Beetle can pop in anywhere. So I think that's going to be very fun to see both of those movies. And they do come out, all four of these actually come out this year, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, which is actually quite exciting.
So hopefully for that, then the reboot, the universe reboot will be great because then it's leading into Creature Commando, Paradise Lost, Swamp Thing's getting his movie. Super excited about that. Booster Gold's finally getting something. Authority, and then
Lanterns.
the ones that are really excited. Um, Green Lantern, I believe, is getting a show. I think they said it was
It's
getting a
like a
show.
buddy cop show, and it's gonna be called Lanterns.
Yeah, and then you got Superman Legacy is going to come out, which is going to reboot kind of how Superman is because he kind of went far away from what Superman is as a character. Which don't get me wrong, a darker, nitty gritty Superman was kind of cool. Um, and then we have Batman Brave and the Bold, which is going to be Batman and more of his family, which is extremely exciting for that.
Well, which I thought was kind of weird, is they're already setting up with the Brave and the Bold that Batman is his Robin at the time is going to be his son Damian. So he's already have gone through Dick, Jason, and Tim.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting because then Jason could be running around as the Red Hood already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Tim could already be
Red
running
Robin.
around as Nightwing.
No. Dick Grayson is Nightwing.
Sorry,
Tim
Dick
Drake
Grayson.
became Red Robin.
Yeah. So it would be fun to see that, and I think the one that I'm really excited for is they're gonna finally do a proper thing for Supergirl. I liked the show. Don't get me wrong, the show had a lot of possibilities, and they had some really bad moments, but they're doing the movie where we're actually going to see her living on Krypton for a little bit, then see all the ramifications of the planet being destroyed, is what James Gunn was saying. And then that we're going to see her adjusting and trying to find Clark on Earth after all that's happened and her adjusting to all the powers as she gets there. So I think that's going to be a really big movie and a good movie if they can do it correctly.
It'll be quite interesting. I don't think they announced an actress yet, did they?
No, not yet. There's a lot of these movies that they're already they're going through right now trying to find everything. And then with all the reboots, They're calling them Elseworld, which if you're a DC comic fan, that you know Elseworlds are basically the DC multiverse. Um, they said the Joker movies, the new Batman's with uh, Ed, or Edward Patterson, I think that's his name.
You mean Robert Pattinson?
There you go. We'll go with that. He was Edward. He was a vampire somewhere. Now he's just a boy in a bat suit. No sparkles this time around. Sorry.
Oh God.
And they said Superman and Lois is in the Elseworlds. And the one I don't get why it still exists is Teen Titans Go. Just bring back regular Teen Titans, please. We need
I
some.
don't understand it either. That show is way too goofy.
Just,
Mm.
just give us season 4. I'd be happy with season 4.
Yeah. Give us a wrap-up season. That's all you need.
Exactly. Just give us an epilogue season. I think I'd be extremely happy with that. Um,
As long as Robin and Starfire end up together, I'm good for it.
I'd second that. Well, I mean that's kind of pretty much it for DC, honestly, with all the updates. The movies are coming out. Aquaman 2 apparently sucks. Flash is great. And Blue
Well, you got to
Beetle.
remember too, to finish this off. I'm sorry to interrupt, but he's looking at an 8 to 10 year plan, and he's going to bring together all mediums, which means he's going to link the canon story, the main multiverse story, between animated shows, video games, live action movies, live action TV shows, animated TV shows. He's going to do his best to bring all those together, and then make Elseworld projects as time goes on.
And I think James Gunn being the one handling all of that is going to be a very impressive thing. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Um, Before we leave DC, I can't remember talking about the lawsuit from who was it? Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, and Jason Momoa was suing Warner Brothers. It was like you
Oh
guys are
boy.
kicking us out for all these roles and stuff like that, and everyone was sitting there saying, "Oh, it's James Gunn's fault." It's like James Gunn doesn't have any say at that point. That was kind of a
Yeah,
decision
it's not his fault.
that decision was made before he even took over.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see because they did say, like I said, Jason Momoa was already excited. He said he's supposed to be Lobo. They said Henry Cavill, we want to keep working with you in the future for other stuff as well. Um, I believe they said the same thing for Gal Gadot too. That just like, hey, you can come back. We just don't know if we want you as Wonder Woman right now.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how their lineup's going to go, but I know at least Henry Cavill left with James Gunn under good terms.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that's kind of overshadowed with everything too. That it's like he left on good terms. Well, I think that covers up kind of all the updates on DC for the moment. Sorry, there wasn't much, guys.
It never is.
Not at the moment. Maybe after the Flash we can have some more. Oh, I mean the Flash TV show. Apparently the last season sucks right now. Besides that,
It sucks.
I am so far behind on Flash and everything. I just know that apparently they have the character Red Death, and how Red Death is being represented in that show is not how it should be. So everyone's really pissed off about that.
Let me guess, it's not a version of.
No, I think it's like Batman or something, like a female Batman. I
Well,
don't know what's going on with it. I haven't paid enough
Red Death.
attention
Red
because I'm
Death
so
is.
behind.
Red Death is originally a dark multiverse version of Batman who stole Flash's powers. That's long story short. But if they're going with the premise of the Arrowverse shows, and say, for example, Red Death is actually Batwoman with Flash's powers, it makes sense because in the Arrowverse, Batman existed, but he's not around anymore. So they use Batwoman, which makes sense. I mean, people, if you're not happy with it, sorry to say, but that's just how the show ended up.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm so far behind on everything. I haven't watched any Batwoman, because I heard Ruby Rose's season was great. After the other person took over, the show was not very good. I haven't watched it. Flash and Arrow. I think the last season I left off in Flash is he was still fighting Brainiac, or
Mm-hmm.
the Thinker. I think I was still fighting him. I never finished it. I just kind of fell out of a loop, and now at this point everything's done, so I can just binge it all.
Yeah, you're better off. I stopped the season right after that one too. I need to start binging.
Yeah. So, DC done. What's your next subject we have going on?
Well, I got Power Rangers with a slight Ninja Turtles twist.
Well, bring it on, my friend. Bring it on.
Okay, in the comics right now, they got a side story of Power Rangers and TMNT. They got a side story for them in the comics. They got one story, and now they're doing the sequel story right now. It's going on right now. I think issue 3 was just released. And keeping up with it, in the first story, long story short, essentially, Tommy needs to go help a friend out who ends up being like a friend from an orphanage when he was a kid. Uh, Shredder steals his morpher, becomes a Power Ranger. So Green Ranger becomes like the Shredder Green Ranger, which is actually quite sick if anybody wants to look that one up.
Oh, I'm looking it
And
up while
then
you talk. Go on.
the Shredder Green Ranger, dude, he's sick. But anyway, during the comic run, the Power Rangers lose the ability because of Shredder to morph. Well, guess who ends up taking the morphers and fighting Shredder? The Ninja Turtles. So now you get the rise of the Turtle Rangers.
he, he looks so sick, but I can't take him with the shredder helmet morphed into that. I can't.
It,
Let me
it's
let me pull
cool,
this.
dude.
Hang on, guys. So
It's
let me show this
cool.
up here. There you guys go. For you guys are wanting to see it. That's what that looks like. It looks cool, but I just can't take the helmet.
It's sick, dude. It's completely awesome. The Shredder Green Ranger is amazing.
Oh my God! There's a Funko figure for it.
Look up look up his look up Shredder's first morph. It's a way better picture. Anyway, you end up getting the 4 turtles who became Rangers, and then April O'Neil actually took the Mighty Morphin Pink coin. So there were 5 Rangers, and that ended up was kind of like the premise of like the crossover story. Rita was working with Shredder, and then after the story ended, Rita and Shredder disappeared. Well, in the sequel series, yep, way better photo of that. Way better photo. So, in the sequel series, yeah, the Rangers helped the Turtles again because something else came up with Crane from Dimension X showing up and causing mischief. But now in that story, I don't know how it happens. I haven't seen the 3rd issue yet, where the Turtles end up morphing again with the Rangers' powers, and the Power Rangers get mutated by the mutagen into mutants of their power coins. So, like, Red Ranger Jason becomes a mutant Tyrannosaurus, which is actually pretty sick.
God, you're just making me want to
And
Google
then
all this stuff now. I'm so behind on Power Rangers.
I've been keeping up, so leave me alone. But I guess there was a hint at the end of issue 2 that Crane said that he had dealt with Rangers before and killed them. And we're like, well, how did that happen? Well, I guess, spoiler warning, everybody, there were Power Rangers in Dimension X where the Crane are from. And the Crane killed them.
Interesting.
And it shows at the end of the issue all 5 morphers that the Crane had stolen. And during that issue, also kind of like jumping back in time here, Casey Jones switched sides and joined the Crane to fight the Turtles willingly, not mind controlled, willingly, and he became the one of the Rangers that the Crane's morphers were stolen. So he became the first Ranger X that the Crane are using, because these Rangers from Dimension X are called the Ranger X's.
Ow.
So Casey Jones became a Power Ranger, and he kicked the Ninja Turtles' butts.
Interesting.
So that story's ongoing. I couldn't tell you anymore, even if I wanted to.
Well, there is our apparently Ninja Turtles - Power Ranger little nerd update.
Also, within the Power Rangers news, this year is the 30th anniversary. For any of you fans out there, I'm sure you already are aware.
Shit, I'm
They're
as old
making
as
a
Power
30th.
Rangers.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm older.
Ah!
So, like the 30th anniversary special, I guess is supposed to be an hour long, and it's bringing back the original team, most of them anyway. And it's supposed to honor the original Yellow Ranger who had passed away many years ago in a car accident.
during the
But I
filming of
believe
the.
they're going to end up honoring Jason David Frank as well, since he had just recently passed.
I
Uh,
I'm not gonna lie. I would not be surprised if they kept that he actually filmed it secret.
oh, I wouldn't doubt it if somehow, some way he said, "Oh, I'm not a part of it," but it was a secret the whole time until they show the episode.
Yeah, I would not be surprised, and then you'd have a little tribute at the end of it. I think that'd be great.
I think so. It's well deserved for him and the original Yellow Ranger. I can't pronounce their names, so I don't want to butcher it.
Not to mention that I believe his movie
Um,
Legend of the White Dragon comes out this year too.
that is also supposed to be released this year. I haven't heard any news recently, so I need to keep up on that. Um, Also, the 30th season of Power Rangers is going to be the first season, right, ever, in which most of the production is American made. Only some of the production will be using original Japanese footage, like they did with the rest of the series, where it was mostly Japanese footage. This will be mostly American made footage with American made costumes and American made story. So that's going to be quite interesting. And they're going to have a lot of previous Rangers show up or guest appearances in that 30th season. One, I guess, rumored return is a character from Power Rangers Dino Charge. His name was Heckle. He was a villain during season 1 of that series. And in the comics, Heckle ended up becoming a Power Ranger after switching sides. But it was never revealed in the TV show. It was only revealed in the comics he would become a Dark Ranger. But there's rumor going around that the third anniversary called Cosmic Fury is going to show Heckle return as the Dark Ranger, being very cool first live action appearance of that Ranger. Also, for that season, the Green Ranger's girlfriend is rumored to show up as an Orange Power Ranger, which would be the first ever Orange Power Ranger to show up in the series. And the series is supposed to premiere in the fall.
Well, that sounds like I have a lot of Power Rangers to get caught up on.
If you want to get caught up on it, just watch Dino Fury and you'll be all right. Everything else is just kind of and you could watch videos on the comics.
I suppose I can do
Uh,
that.
and last but not least in that subject, at least on my end, is fans for years have been building their own master morphers that Tommy Oliver or Jason David Frank had used in the Power Rangers episode for the 25th anniversary, Dimensions in Danger. Whoever makes these morphers, whether it be Hasbro or whoever, I kind of lose track at this point with ownership rights, but they never make one. This year, finally, for the 30th anniversary, they had a sit down with Jason before he had passed, asking his advice, and he wasn't too happy about talking to the people that had screwed him and other actors over in the past. But he told them, stop making the same old stuff. Make the Master Morpher. You got people at home building these things out, just out of spare parts, using 3D printers and stuff like that. Make this as a legacy toy and people will be extremely happy to have it, which, by the way, is scheduled to be released this year.
I actually want to probably own one of those. Won't lie.
It's pretty cool. I built one for our mutual friend Herschel for his 30th birthday 2 years ago.
Nice. Oh, you did show
It
me
was a
that
lot
the
of
other day.
fun.
It was very cool.
Oh, it's amazing.
Well, Power Rangers updates are done. Um, I guess it's my pick. I only have two things left.
Go for it.
I'll let you pick right now, either between video games or Star Wars.
We've been talking a lot about Star Wars lately. Let's go with that.
All right, we're going with Star Wars. Yeah. All right,
Oh,
so
Starkiller.
I am definitely more in touch with this one than Zero is. I'm a huge Star Wars nut. Um, it's somewhere over there. It hasn't been hung up yet. It's not enough that I'm trying to meet all the voice actors at the moment. Um, but Star Wars news, the biggest one's going on is the Bad Batch season 2 is still going on right now. Um, I'm 3 episodes behind but Ian McDiarmid did come back to voice the Emperor Palpatine, which was really cool. Um, and then the biggest news that we have going on is The Mandalorian Season 3 comes out March 1st, which is only freaking 4 days away now. So I'm
Oh
super
god, I'm gonna
excited.
lose my crap when that comes out.
Super excited about that, and it's going to be a long time since we've had two Star Wars shows going side by side. So for half of the run of The Mandalorian, the Bad Batch is going to come out on the same day with it. So we'll get a double dose of Star Wars again, which I'm excited about. Um, and then the news that I saw as well is that season 4 has already been written.
For Mandalorian,
Season 4 has already been written. It's already been approved. They're just waiting for everything, is what I've heard. And that news came out early today or yesterday, I believe.
now I'm more
Uh,
excited.
I have to ask you with this, what predictions do you have that you hope for season 3, especially of how season 2 left off?
I'm hoping that somehow, some way, our now dark saber wielding Mandalorian finds some way into like he's becoming more loose with his ties to his specific sect of Mandalorian.
Hmm.
And as time goes on, I feel he's going to end up finding he has a connection to the Force similar to Grogu, and Grogu might start his teachings, and he might be on his way to becoming the next Jedi wielder of the dark saber.
I think that would be fun, especially uh, because it just makes a lot of sense. Because the dark saber actually is a lightsaber made by a Mandalorian Jedi way in the past, and they've explained that. If you want more history behind that, uh, Star Wars Rebels goes into it a little bit more. That talks about the animated show talks about the dark saber. Um, I believe that was actually where it was first introduced. I believe was in the Star Wars Rebels, or it was the Clone Wars. It was one of those two that it
I
was
believe it was
introduced,
Clone Wars.
and then it came back in season in Rebels, and then it went back to Mandalore, and obviously the person who had it lost it. Now uh, Jin has it, which I'm excited. I really want to see a lot of Mandalore because Mandalore was such a cool place to see in the Clone Wars animated series, and to see it pretty much gone through the shit that it did in Rebels. I want to see more on Mandalore of the downfall of how it turned to shit after all the stuff in Rebels, and to see it change. Another thing I did see too, supposedly Mandalorian season 3 is where we're getting our first form of Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker.
Really?
Yes. Let me
How are they
there's
going to
already.
play that? They already introduced it, Luke.
Yeah, but you can't keep having Mark Hamill play him.
So what are they going to do? Just do like a little bit of CGI to make him look closer to him?
No, no, they. Let me find this. They came out with the picture. Give me a second.
I know he looks pretty close to him, but considering they had already introduced him with the CGI stuff, it's going to be, I don't know, it's confusing.
Well, that CGI was actually Mark Hamill de-aged again.
Well, I know.
All right, I got it right here. So let me pull this up here. This is what was shown and shared on the Mandalorian page. And I cannot wait to see that, and I hope that's the truth.
I don't know. I feel like I've seen that picture before. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not gonna discredit it because I got no proof to discredit it.
But I hope it's the case because he oh god, he looks so much like a young Mark Hamill in essence. So I hope it's the case. Um, Besides Mandalorian, I really hope some more cameos. I would love to see some more cameos. I feel as well that we're gonna Mandalorian season 3 is also gonna have some form of a stepping stone to set up for Ahsoka because that comes out this year too, which Rosario Dawson
I
is reprising her role. Um,
Well,
there's
you
another
think Darth
person.
Maul might be involved?
See, I would love to say yes, but I don't think so. If it does, it might be a flashback, only because the whole Ahsoka show is being based off of what's happened with the end of Rebels, where the end of Rebels, Urza gets teleported away somewhere, and he tells Sabine, "Hey, you know where to find me." So at the end of it, Ahsoka and Sabine go off to find them and her Ezra and Thrawn because they left together. And if you remember in Mandalorian season 2, with that whole episode with Ahsoka, she's fighting the person and she goes, "Where is Thrawn?" So she's trying to find Thrawn because if she finds Thrawn, she finds Ezra. But in the Star Wars Rebels, we actually did see the end of Darth Maul, that he got to have a rematch with Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan killed him. He finally put him to end. And when Maul looked at him and goes, why are you here on this planet, blah blah blah, and he saw Luke Skywalker animated as a little boy or as a young adult at that time, he goes, "At least tell me, is he the actual chosen one?" And Obi-Wan said yes. So I think we'll see Maul as a flashback, but I don't think we'll see him alive because Ahsoka's taking all this is taking place after all of that.
Because I know Darth Maul showed up in Solo, and I was wondering what happened between Solo and A New Hope.
There was a comic where there was a comic that explained that he was running the Red Suns for a while. I believe it was what it was. But Ahsoka coming out, I'm excited for it because, like I said, Rosario Dawson's coming back. Um, there's another smaller actress that's going to be playing the younger version of Ahsoka back when she was in the Clone Wars. I hope that in some form of way, Ashley Eckstein, who is the voice actress for Ahsoka in anything animated or video game, I hope she has some form of role in all this because it needs to be with her because she is Ahsoka. I did hear Hayden Christensen's coming back as well to reprise his role as Anakin Skywalker for um, either as a
Probably
flashback.
flashbacks.
I've heard flashbacks and I heard as a Force Ghost, which would make me so excited to see that.
Oh yeah, because by the time Mandalorian happens, obviously he's already dead.
Yeah, because Mandalorian takes place, I think they said 5 years after
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. So and then as and Rebels ended around that time frame too, where they ended everything and they freed Lothal. And at the end of it, it was a little bit of a flashback where they see the planet thriving and everything, and talking about how Ezra, I wish you could see this wherever you are, blah blah blah. So I think Ahsoka is going to be coming out pretty good too. And you got obviously some other shows that are coming out later. I know the Acolyte was the one I was excited about, which was finally showing the High Republic. Thank you for the raid, Poisoning. Thank you and welcome into InfiniGeeks. We are currently doing nerd updates and we are talking about Star Wars at the moment.
Yeah, if you want to learn about more other crap that we're doing, watch the beginning of the video later, I guess.
Yes, and we have every podcast does get uploaded to YouTube, so anything you guys miss, you are able to see it. Um, yeah, Poisoning, we were talking about Star Wars. We were talking about Mandalorian's only 4 days away, predictions we were having for it, talking about Ahsoka. We were talking about the other shows that were coming out, like Skeleton Crew, which I still don't really know much about, but I'm excited because it's Jude Law. Um, as I was saying, the
Anything
Acolyte.
Jude Law's in is good.
Exactly. Jude Law is just
Um,
the type of person that he's good. The Acolyte, like I
and
was
the
saying,
possibility, would you say the possibility of Sebastian Stan coming in as Luke Skywalker?
yes, Sebastian Stan is supposed to. He finally got his permission from Mark Hamill to take over being a younger Luke Skywalker, and Mark Hamill said he would come back as the older Luke Skywalker if he needed for future events and everything like that. Um, and I was saying too, uh, not Skeleton Crew, the Acolyte is going to be taking place in the High Republic, which is books that are going on right now. Is a very fun timeline that's 200 years before the events of the prequel series. I own all the books. I collect the comics. I highly recommend reading it. It's such a cool concept to see. Like the Sith are believed to be have gone at this point. Um, they're very scarce in this world. The Jedi are at their highest peak. That all these rare abilities that we've heard about in the Clone Wars and the live action movies, these people are using them willy nilly, and you get to see what they actually use, and they're really cool. Um, One of the references was there was a person that mind linked all these Jedi's from all across the universe to stop a meteorite that was going to crash and destroy a planet, and they used their connection to destroy the meteor into smaller pieces so it wouldn't cause much damage or destroy the planet.
Just saying, if Starkiller were there, he would have just stopped it.
Yes, and hopefully we see a freaking live action Star Killer soon because please, we just need it. Sam Witter is ready to go. We all know it. He's agile enough to do it. He may be 40
I
something,
hope he
but
does
he's
it.
ready to
I
go.
will be there in a heartbeat. Do
But
it.
yeah, do it. Good. Drink that milk. Good. Good.
Hey, hey, hey. For your information, it's not milk.
Is it blue milk?
It's not the stuff that turns poop blue. No.
Ah, okay, okay. But I was saying the acolyte that's taking place in there, but instead of being all the Jedi or bounty hunters or anything like that, it's the first show that we're finally having that's revolving the Sith. We're following the Sith. We're following the bad guys, and I can't explain how excited I am for that because I'm. Don't get me wrong, Jedi's are fun and all that, fine and dandy, but Sith are something else, and you gotta see it. And I hope for violence. There needs to be a
And I
lot of
hope.
violence.
What's that show called? What is it called?
It's going to be called the Acolyte.
The Acolyte. I hope with that they kind of explored the idea of the in between with like Gray Jedi, because that would be quite interesting.
The in between I heard was might be explored more in Ahsoka because Ahsoka is she's not a gray Jedi. It's a term that was called it's a way seeker. A way seeker I think is what it
Mhm.
is that has an extremely strong connection to the Force, but may be considered a Jedi, but they let the Force guide them for their decisions versus following the Jedi Order type of thing. That
Gotcha.
the High Republic books actually talked about that a little bit more too, which was really exciting. That they were saying that we do have these, they're very point there, but you don't get to decide to be a way seeker. The Force tells you what you're going to be, and then you pretty much let the Force guide you. You don't get your own missions or stuff like that unless stuff gets severe. The Force tells you, hey, you need to be here at this place for this reason or stuff like that. And Ahsoka, inevitably, if you watch the series, becomes that. Like in Rebels, you get the in between where you get to see her has the sensitivity to the Force owl and all that stuff. Yeah, wouldn't be that specific. You think it wouldn't, but if you read the books, which again, Star Wars is more my domain than it is Zero. Zero's kind of learned from me for a lot of the stuff, or our buddy Avery.
My background on Star Wars is more in depth than you think, but you do know more about it than I do.
But the Force is a very interesting thing if you read the books. Poisoning, I would say read the books because the books have so much more information on them. The other thing I was going to say about the
Yeah.
Acolyte, the original thing I heard is it's supposed to be all about Palpatine becoming a Sith, which would be fun to watch because that whole story was taken care of in the story, the Dark Plagueis book, which would which would fit so well into. Have you ever heard the story of Plagueis the Wise?
Which was his master.
Which was his master that had focused on eternal life. So it would be really
He
fun to
focused
see
so much on it. In fact, it caused his death.
exactly. All good on that end there, poisoning. But no, Star Wars has a lot going for it, and I'm excited to see what happens. Um, I keep hearing again, Kathleen Kennedy is supposed to be leaving this year. I really hope it's the case because Dave Filoni just needs to take over everything because he's the Star Wars god at this point. He the running joke is
Favreau's pretty good too.
yeah, the running joke is Dave Filoni and John Favreau have Lucas on speed dial. right underneath
Oh,
each other.
dude, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. They have them on speed dial three-way calling. Let's go.
Exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see more Lucas as well. Um, I mean that's what I got for Star Wars. Honestly, just there's just stuff coming out. Bad Batch, keep an eye on that. Watch that. It's really fun with the animated series because it is exploring other stuff. We got the Star Wars game coming out, which is going to explore more. Um, Mandalorian season 3 and Ahsoka, man, I'm excited for it and Star Wars it up. I think I might have to go over to Zero's house and have a Star Wars marathon.
It'd be more than welcome.
Oh, it'd be more than welcome. Well, Zero.
Saki.
Saki Saki. So Zero, I don't know about you, but the only subject I have left for updates is just talking about a few video games.
Yeah, go for it, man. We ran through my stuff in the early part of the episode, so.
Already? Well, I did. We did get
Dude,
we did have life going on. So, but as we
yeah,
said earlier, this was just a nerd update episode that we're just kind of debating a few of the things that we've looked at and we are excited about that have been kind of stockpiled. So if you did miss any of the earlier episode, like I said, it will be on my Twitch and it later in 24 hours, probably about 2 o'clock tomorrow. It will end up on our YouTube channel, which you can look up NTKH plus zero, and it will pop up instantly. And we have all of our episodes on there as well, so they are there to be able to watch and rewatch and catch anything you may miss. Um, so the only thing I
I
got
got a
for
weird question for you.
yeah,
I'm gonna call you out in front of every fan that might be watching at the moment. Why didn't you just call the YouTube channel InfiniGeeks?
because initially I had the channel set to my name, my streamer name, um, and then I was thinking that as you stream, we could put some of your stuff and my stuff on the channel, and InfiniGeeks is just kind
But
of InfiniGeeks is there. Um, and inevitably, what I'm planning to do with that channel is sort it so that there will be a playlist set for all of that.
I was gonna say you could just playlist it, but yeah, okay. I was just curious.
So it will be there. It's going to go through a lot of change, just like the channel on here is going to go through a lot of change. We'll talk about a few newses for the podcast here just before we end it here in a little bit. Um, but yeah, video games. The only big thing is I got to talk about. Hey, Raid, I was lurking getting food. Hello there, fraternal. Hello,
Ooh,
hello, hero.
hello.
The big thing is I got for video games. You got a big chunk of games coming out or already out. The Harry Potter game, the big controversial game, um, is the biggest selling game at the moment. It has made so much money. I actually, hang on, I had it saved on my phone. How much did it make? It's made
I
enough.
couldn't tell you.
It's made almost $900 million or something like that. I think is what I saw. And that's just for Series X and PS5. That is what I
Yeah,
know
dude,
about that.
dude, yeah. Because they're not even counting the release dates that are coming out later. In April, it's for Xbox One and PS4. Then in July, you get the Switch.
Yeah, you got the PS4 and the Switch and the Xbox One. So we got so much of that coming out, and I would not be surprised if the money triples.
And let me tell you something. I don't know about you. I don't think you've played it yet, but I've played it, and I've got about 17 hours invested in the game because of how my schedule ends up. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care what people's views are. It has nothing to do with them. This as a game and its storyline, I've enjoyed it greatly so far. I love the combat. I love the story. I love the interaction with the characters. Is the game perfect? No, but to me, this is essentially the Skyrim of the Harry Potter world, and I enjoy it so damn much.
Inevitably, I plan to play it after you. I plan to borrow it from Zero when him and his wife are done, so I can play it and my wife can play it. But yeah, I've heard it's a great game. I've heard it's a phenomenal game. I've heard there's a few jabs in there to what all the controversial stuff is and everything. But I'm excited for it. I know Yeah, I've heard the complaint about 70 hours to beat it. But I did hear earlier today them talking about that they're actually going to more than likely have some DLC come out for the game. One of the big ones they
It's not
talked
going to be
about.
anytime soon, but
No, no, but I have heard that the game's done well enough that they're talking about trying to do a franchise with it, which would be okay depending on how this game ends, I guess. You could do more DLC or you could set up some other stuff. I don't know. Um, but it is very cool to see this game, despite everything that's going on with it, it is thriving, and it was gonna obviously thrive because it was a highly demanded game before everything hit the fan with it. But I continue hoping this game does well, and I plan to play it myself, like I said. Probably be on my own time, but I think it's a great game. I think it shouldn't have gotten as much hate as it did. But we will discuss all of that on the controversial episode. We're sticking with that name Zero. It will be the
we're,
controversial episode.
so what are we going to have? Like movies and video games and stuff like that that caused controversy in the last 40 years?
Most recent stuff, yeah, yeah. We're just no. By the point we do that episode, we're gonna have enough list. well,
I
well,
could think of like 3 or 4 right now.
exactly. Um, the other things coming out, Atomic Heart is out right now. It's a very good game. I'm currently playing it. To those of you who don't know, it's basically the Russian BioShock. I highly recommend it. It is such a fun game. It is as beautiful as I hoped it was. I've kept an eye on it for a very long time. Skull and Bones, I don't know if that got pushed back again or not, but that's hopefully coming out this year, which is a big pirate game, which Zero, you will be playing it with me.
Yeah, you're going to force me into it.
Oh, I'm going to force you to be a pirate with me. I've shown you the trailer
I
for
will.
this game.
Okay, okay, that's fine as long as the pirate thing doesn't involve butts.
And then the other things that I got, Resident Evil 4 remakes coming out, new animated movie, trailer looks great. Zero, I need to sit you down to play the Resident Evil games. I think it would be fun to watch you play them.
You're going to watch me freak out.
Yes, that's my goal. Yeah. And then the other horror games we got coming out, we got Silent Hill 2 remake, we got Alan Wake 2 coming out, we have Alone in the Dark coming out. Um, I think that was it. I think that was it. And another Amnesia game coming out. But that's really all the updates with that. Um, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for video games right now. I mean, there's some other stuff, but I prefer if we did all that stuff, we talk more in depth about those versus just the nerd update episode. And Hero, I'm glad you
Well, I
laughed at
mean,
the nerd or the controversial episode title.
oh, oh my goodness, I can't believe we're going to end up going way off track on that one. But,
It's pop culture. It is nerd culture. Just remember that.
you know what? You know what? I wouldn't mind as like a random episode now that I'm thinking of it off the fly here is maybe set up a poll and have people go, hey, maybe we should talk about this subject in a random episode of this. Let some of the people who follow us kind of like make a decision on whether we do something or not for just a random episode.
You know what? I think to you guys who are listening, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I have a Twitter. It's NTKH Caboose, and Zero has one as well. At the end of this episode, I'm gonna go onto that Twitter account and I'm gonna post the question of what topic would you guys like to see talked about. Um, and then if you feel free to reply on it. Zero and I will look at it. We will try to make some of those happen. We'll look at all of those. Um, but it's gonna happen. I'll have that up within maybe 30 minutes or so. So keep an eye on that. Follow Zero and I on Twitter. Um, we are both on Twitch. NTKH is mine. 006261 is his Twitch. He has not done his first stream yet on his channel, but he will be soon. We are currently working on it. We're just debating on what we're going to do. It will be I think his debut stream, we both agreed it was going to be a collab stream, just you and I playing a game. But
Yeah, just
definitely keep
goofing
an eye.
off. We'll see what happens.
But yeah, so I mean that's what we got right now for the nerd update episode. It wasn't going to be a really long one, just because we have many more updates that we could do and we can go in depth, but as we were talking about them, we kind of realized Zero and I kind of shared these looks that we know, hey, we might want to make it just a whole episode about all of this stuff. So, Zero, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone what we can be expecting for the podcast coming up now? What do we got updates going on?
All right, guys. This is going to be probably I guess, a weird shock. I mean, we've been doing on average once a month here since we've started. This is going into, you're saying session 4. I don't know, I'm losing track. But anyway, we've been on schedule doing once a month toward the end of the month, and I was talking with our little buddy here, Caboose, that maybe we need to start amping this up a little bit. We kind of like originally to do 2, maybe 3 a month. But I said, you know what? We're going to be doing 2-hour episodes. It doesn't matter what the subject is. Let's just throw something at the wall and see what happens. We're going to do, from my count, we said 5, but we got another guest in April. So that's 6 straight weeks, counting this episode as the first week of podcasts every weekend for you guys.
Yeah,
Now,
you guys.
there,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say you guys did hear that right. That Zero and I, like you said, we've planned to try to do 2, 3 episodes a month. And just when we started this, it was just a lot. We were trying to do it. Stuff happened. Weather got in the way. Um, Life events happened. We're both married, so we try to do this when we can. Um, and with our job schedules, it's always 50-50 if we can do these on the days that we try to. Um, and he hit me up the other day or a couple days ago and is like, why don't we just do, you're about to get your weekends back for work. Why don't we just do this massive binge of episodes? And initially we thought it was only going to be 4 episodes, and we thought it was going to be 5, and then we redid everything, and it's going to be 6 episodes. We are doing 6 weeks every Saturday, back to back episodes of InfiniGeeks, and just super excited about it. Today was just kind of a wing episode that we're doing the nerd updates because we wanted to touch on these for a while, and we do these at the end of the episodes. Zero, do you remember what next week's episode's going to be about?
Oh, you know, I'm only 32 and already have Alzheimer's. So, shoot. No, no, I don't remember shit. So go ahead.
I think next week's episode we were going to do is an unscripted episode. Uh,
Yes. Okay, I do remember that.
so unscripted, we tried to do this beforehand, and the weather got in the way, and it made the video just unbearable. It kept kicking us out. Um, and it was just an awful time. uh,
Yeah,
so
really. Oh my god.
unscripted for us is initially, behind the scenes, which we were going to talk about at a different point um, for another episode too. Behind the scenes, we make an outline and we talk about what our subject is. We make our own little notes and we kind of use it as a reference point to keep us guided. Unscripted episode is we literally just start the episode. We can start on a subject and then it could just go all over the place. Um, and we were talking about having some guests that we've had before or other people that want to be on there. Maybe jump on there. KC Kingpin Cheshire was a guest that we had. Very phenomenal guy. Would love for him to come back. Um, and just shoot the shit. That's pretty much what an unscripted episode is. We are literally just bullshitting and just shooting the shit with all of you guys in the chat, talking with all of you guys, having a good time. Um, I think we had another scripted episode. I don't remember what it was called or what the subject
Well,
was.
in let's. I think what we're gonna do is next week we'll do our unscripted, and then you're gonna get with a fellow streamer friend of yours, Pixie,
Ah,
hopefully in
yes,
2 weeks, to
yes,
talk about Wonder Woman.
yes. So what we have is we also have 3 guests. We decided to pack those guests in because we wanted to get more guests in. Um, the first guest that we were going to have is going to be Pixie Gaming. And we are going to be talking about Wonder Woman. She was a big supporter to help me get this going for a little while. And she's one of the first guests that said she wanted to do it. and I'm excited to have her in there. And we're gonna be talking about Wonder Woman throughout the ages, and talk about just to kind of educate her and any of you guys that want to watch it. The next guest we have is Mad Hatter. He messaged me last week during one of my streams and asked if he could be a guest, and we are going to do Five Nights at Freddy's history and lore. Which Zero, I cannot wait to have that one with you because it's I'm gonna make you play the games. I own the games, and I'm gonna have fun watching you get the shit scared out of you.
Oh my God, I know nothing about this. I don't know if I want to.
Oh, it's gonna be a fun time. Don't worry about it. Um,
Oh, I'm in trouble.
and then the last guest that we have, which is in April, is he might be lurking in here. He might find this later, but his name is Dan Syndrome. He's an amazing person. He became a follower from the podcast from the first episode, and we've become good friends with him outside of this. Um, and he's from the UK, so that's going to be our first international guest, which is kind of fun to say. Um, and he is going to be talking British comedy shows, which I believe we're going over. IT Crowd, Mighty Boosh, and Red Dwarf is what he wanted to discuss. So we're gonna have a whole weekend binge of British comedy. But do any of you
Oh,
guys too? Oh,
oh,
go ahead.
it's gonna be insane, man. We're gonna be spending a whole weekend watching this stuff, and either I'm gonna have a good time or my brain's gonna melt, or both. Probably both.
I think it's gonna be a great time either way. Um,
It's gonna be great. It's not gonna.
but to any of you who are on here, I'll post it out again on Twitter too. If you would love to be a guest, we welcome any people that want to be a guest. If you ever want to be a guest on InfiniGeeks, message us on Twitter, message us on Discord, shoot a private message to us here on Twitch. Um, just message us anywhere. I got multiple ways that you can get a hold of us. Look at all the links on
Yep.
my Twitch page. All of my links are there for my main things. Let me know. I'm a little bit more active to all this stuff while I'm helping Zero set up all this stuff. Love you, Caps. Thank you for the lurk, love. Um, but we would love
Yeah.
guests. Caps is another one too. Who, as soon as I can settle down with him with subject, he's going to be another guest as well. We got plenty of people. There's plenty of subjects. The multiverse is vast and infinite, and there's so many topics that we could go over. And from the bottom of my heart, I'm happy to say that we've made this 4 or 5 episodes already. And I think by the end of this stretch, yeah, 4 episodes. So by the end of this stretch, we're going to be in the double digits of episodes. So that makes me extremely happy to see that you guys love watching the podcast, you love listening to it, and that we've made it this far.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to be a guest, like he was saying, all our names are exactly the same on Twitch, Twitter, and he has more platforms than I do. Probably has Instagram and TikTok and all these other ones. So feel free to message either one of us and any one of them to talk to us about possible guest appearances, what your subject you want to talk about, and we can work something out. And we'll figure it out.
Exactly. So just message us, talk with us. We'll definitely do that. Um, and again, I'm happy that the podcast has made it this far. We have so much more exciting news to come for this podcast. Um, we'll update those as those come by. Uh, we got many surprises for the podcast coming up soon. We're extremely excited for those. And again, as those announcements come by, we'll let you guys know. But on our end, this is the end of today's episode. So, from my end, on NTKH Caboose, as always, till the next one, and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, everybody, and may the power protect you.
It was fun. Hero, if you had a blast, man, uh, you're welcome. Keep an eye on everything, man. We would love. Thank you for the follow. Keep an eye on this, man. We try
Oh
to
yeah, thank you.
we try to keep an eye on we try to keep an eye on everything and make sure that everyone's up to date on everything. So we will make sure that you are up to date on everything. If you want to keep an eye on the schedule for Twitch, Twitter's a little bit easier to keep an eye on for everything. So keep an eye on that, and we will make sure that you are good and know what's going on. But give me just a second.
So much for our closing statements.
Yeah, so much for the closing statements. Sorry. Yeah, surprise continuation. But Hero, thank you for the follow. Check an eye on the YouTube channel too. That is where we got all the past episodes. And enjoy your guys' day. And again, as always, till the next one. Just that's it. Hand gesture. You're not going to do this ending thing again. Just
May the power protect you all, and hopefully this is over this time.
goodbye, everybody.